for the examination schedule, like we take the syllabus as per the school examination schedule of the students, and if custom requests are there from the students that the particular topic is to be covered in priority, we take that also. So what are our key features? We deal in detailed progress reports, we organize Swiflearn academic test series. A student can take unlimited practice tests on our site, and we basically take the subjective test for school exams. So what you have to do, you just have to book a free trial class. For that, you need to subscribe, you have to click on the bell icon, and you will not be able to miss any updates from our site. So our topic for today is heat. We have already done about heat in the last class, so I really hope that the students will be having some doubts, like what is the heat difference between heat and temperature. Heat is basically caused due to the molecular motion of molecules inside any object, and temperature is the degree of hotness and coolness of the body. So normally students confuse in the sense that they basically mix heat and temperature with each other, but they are quite different from each other. So what we are going to discuss today, how the transference of heat is taking place, what are the concepts by the name conduction, convection and radiation, what is sea breeze and land breeze, and how are they different from each other. In the previous class, we have already discussed about heat and temperature. I have given you a quick recap. Can you tell me what instrument is used to measure the temperature of the body when you are suffering from fever? What is that instrument that your mother, comes with near to you to check the temperature of your body? It is thermometer. And what sort of thermometer it is? It is clinical, or is it a laboratory thermometer? Yes, it is a clinical thermometer. So it can it has the readings that is there on centigrade scale. Human body temperature is on the Celsius scale, it's 37 degrees Celsius. Now thermometer is an instrument which is used for measuring and indicating temperature. There are two types of thermometers, clinical and laboratory thermometer. The stem of a clinical thermometer is relatively small as compared to the laboratory thermometer. Being stem small, it is used to measure a small range of temperature values, that is from 35 to 42 degrees Celsius. But in case of laboratory thermometer, you can measure the temperature up to a range of 100 degrees Celsius. Now, what are the precautions we need to take care when using a clinical thermometer? That is, it should be washed before and after use, because if somebody else is using the thermometer which was priorly used by you, then you need to take care that you wash it and then use it. We should ensure that the mercury level is below 35 degree mark. You do like this with the thermometers that were initially there to, just drop the level of mercury below 35 degree mark. Keep the level of mercury along the site while reading, because there is a parallax error that normally is there when you are just watching a thing. You need to keep your eyes just on the reading, not from here or not from there, because the error would be there while reading the value. We should never hold the thermometer by the bulb while reading it, because otherwise it is going to take the temperature of our hands also. We need to handle the thermometer with extreme care, because it should not get hit with any object and it should not get broken down, because the mercury which is there in the thermometer, it should be handled very carefully. It is not a good substance, it's a poisonous substance, so it should not be taken inside your mouth also. It needs to be disposed of carefully once the thermometer is broken. Now, with the laboratory thermometer, what are the precautions that are there while using a laboratory thermometer? It should be held vertically while measuring the temperature, like this. Just you have to suspend it inside the beaker or apparatus that you are, in which you are working. That means during an experiment, you should have to clamp it vertically, not like this, tilted. It should not be tilted. The bulb should be surrounded from all the sides by the substance whose temperature is to be measured. That is, it is clearly to be immersed inside the liquid of whose temperature we want to measure. Bulb should not touch the sides or bottoms of the container. Read the thermometer while it is in touch with the substance whose temperature is to be measured. That means when you take the thermometer, laboratory thermometer out of the substance, then you should not measure the temperature. You should measure the temperature while it is immersed in that particular substance whose temperature is to be measured. Keep the level of mercury along the line of sight, the same thing. Never hold the thermometer by the bulb while reading it. And what else is there? Handle the thermometer very carefully. If it is broken, dispose it off very carefully. Apart from these two, there are two more thermometers, digital thermometer and maximum minimum thermometer, which we are using nowadays. Digital thermometer are more convenient to use because we don't have a tension of that the thermometer will get broken down and we have to dispose of the mercury. So it is not there. Now, this is a digital thermometer, that is, mercury is a toxic substance which was there in your clinical thermometer, and hence it's difficult to dispose of safely. So these days digital thermometers are available which don't use mercury. Maximum and minimum thermometer, this you might be seeing in in the display of some of the doctors' places. It is a special type of thermometer which automatically records the maximum and minimum temperature of the day. That is daily forecast. If you need of the temperature, then this thermometer is the best choice to be made. If you put a steel spoon in a cup of hot water, we find temperature of the spoon rises, it becomes hot. How does this happen? Now this happens with many things actually. If you just put your hand in a hot water and take it out, you feel your hand is hot compared to the temperature it was having earlier. Why it is happening? Because the heat transference is taking place. Same case is here, that is shown to you on the slide, that whenever you are putting a steel spoon in a cup of hot water, then what is happening? Then that spoon is becoming hot, the temperature is rising. Why it is happening? It is happening because the transference of heat is taking place. It is a very important phenomenon, dear students, that heat is transferring from a body of high temperature to a body of low temperature. Now, why hot tea becomes cold when left in the room for some time? Because the heat from the tea is transferring to the surroundings to maintain a balance of the temperature. That is why it is becoming cold in the room when left for some time. Now, how transference of heat is exactly taking place, how the process is going to take place. Heat transference is referred to as simply heat. It is a movement of thermal energy from one thing to another of different temperature. That means अगर हम heat transfer की बात करें तो heat transfer का मतलब क्या है? हम energy transfer कर रहे हैं, object असल में नहीं move हो रहा है, एनर्जी उसकी एक तरफ से दूसरी तरफ जा रही है. जैसे यू कैन जस्ट सी अ आयरन रॉड इज देयर एंड ओवर इट वी हैव इंस्टॉल्ड दीज थ्री things over it. These look like thermometer only. Okay, now we are putting it on flame. Then what will be happening? Initially the first thermometer is going to, you can say that it is going to blast. Okay, we can say that something we have just kept a steel utensils over it which we are heating up. So how the transference of heat is happening up? First this is going to get heated up, then the heat is going to get transferred to this vessel, and then the heat is going to get transferred to this vessel. That means the direction of heat, transference of heat is taking from A to C, this being the A, B and C. Then the transference of heat is taking place in this way. That is, if we say there are three different ways in which heat is transference. That is, what are the three ways in which heat is transferring? First is through the direct contact. If you are touching something and the heat is transferring through the fluid movement, that is, the fluid is moving from one place to another and is causing the heat transference. Or third is through the electromagnetic waves. Now, the process by which heat is transferred from hotter end to the colder end of an object is called as conduction. Let's suppose you are, there is a needle in your hand. The pointed end of the needle you put over the candle and you are trying to heat it up. Then what will happen? The pointed end is going to get heated up and then the heat is going to transfer to your hand. That is, it is getting transference from the hotter end to the colder end. This is called as your conduction. This is what we have done. Conduction is through direct contact. We are in contact with that thing and the heat is transferring. Now, what is the process of heat transfer in fluid is called as convection. Now, if we talk about fluids, how is it happening? The layer which is at the bottom, which is very much in contact with the flame, is getting heated up. Being heated up, it becomes lighter, it goes up. And the surrounding cold water comes down and it starts heating up. Because the fluid is actually moving and heat transference is happening because of the movement of the fluid, it is called as convection. So when we talk about fluids, then the process is called as convection. When a liquid is heated, the liquid near flames get hot and rises up. The cold liquid from the sides moves down towards the source of the heat. This water also gets hot and rises up. The process continues until whole water gets heated. This process is called as convection. Now, the process of heat without any kind of contact is called as radiation. Now, this you might have observed that, when you are sitting near the bonfire. Now, what is happening? The wood is there, they are getting heated up, and you are sitting far away from them, but still you are able to feel the heat on your hands. You are not touching them to, just feel the heat from them, but you are having the advantage of your hands getting heated with the heat that is coming from that bonfire. So the heat transference is taking place without any kind of direct contact. You are not actually in contact with that, but yes, heat transference is taking place. You can see there is a pan on a stove, and the water inside the pan is getting heated up. We have just kept a candle near it, and the candle is melting. This happens in kitchen also. If you keep some plastic container near the gas, what is happening? It is going to get melt. Why? Because the heat transference is happening due to the radiation concept. Have you saved the boiling pan of milk by quickly removing it from flame? What happens when you are boiling milk and you don't pay attention? The milk tries to spill out. Now, if you are seeing that it is about to spill out, what you do? You just remove it from the flame. Then the milk stops spilling out, it settles down. Why the milk stop as soon as we remove the flame from the pan? It happens because what is happening? You are removing it from the source of heat. Then the temperature is going to come down, it is going to settle down. That is the reason it settles down when we remove it from the flame. Why does the handles of utensils are often made of plastics and wood? Any ideas regarding it? Why they are made up of plastic or wood? Why not of any other thing like aluminium, copper? They are made of plastic and woods because they are bad conductor of electricity, heat and electricity. Because plastic and wood are insulators, and based on conduction, they are divided. The objects are divided into two categories: conductors and insulators. Conductors are which conduct the electricity, and heat and insulators, they don't conduct at all. So conductors are the materials which allow heat to pass through them easily, are conductors of heat like iron, aluminium and copper. So you normally see that the utensils that we use in our kitchen, they have the bottom that is made up of copper, but the handles are not made up of copper, because if they are made up of copper, you'll not be able to hold that utensil when it is very hot. The heat is going to get transferred to your hand. That is why we prefer to use plastic or wood instead. Insulators are the material which don't allow heat to pass through them, like plastic and wood. We have already discussed. Now, take a candle. This is an activity that you can do at home. Take a candle and light it carefully using a matchstick. Keep one hand over the candle flame and other on the side of the flame. That is, one over and one side of the flame. Keep a proper distance between the hand and the flame. Now observe which hand feels more heat. The hand above the candle will feel more heat as there is convection, heat transfer of heat from the flame, while the hand on the side feels less heat as there is no convection of heat. Convection currents in air occur in nature which lead to blowing of sea breeze and land breeze in coastal areas. Now what is happening? The hand which is directly over the candle is going to feel more heat because heat is coming directly over your hand. But which is there on the side, it is not able to have more effect of heat that is coming from the candle. The same criteria is observed in land breeze and sea breeze in the coastal areas. What is sea breeze? When the hot air is there above the land. Whenever air is hot, it becomes lighter and it just rises up. So hot air near the land, it rises up, and the cool air from the sea is trying to take the place because the air over the land has risen up. This area is free of air. That is why from sea it is going to come to its place. Because the air is coming from the sea, cold air is coming from sea, it is called as sea breeze. Now, land breeze at night, what is happening? Comparatively, the land is colder and the sea is warmer. So air above the land is going to rise up, and from the sea is going to rise up, and cool air from the land is going to take its place. This is called as land breeze. Sea breeze is during the day and land breeze is during the night. Now, this is a phenomenon of land breeze and sea breeze. Now, what kind of clothes we wear in summer and winters, we have already discussed. We try to wear the clothes which are warm, which keep us warm during winters and which keep us cool during summers. So in winters we wear dark color clothes because dark color surfaces, they absorb more heat and they tend to make us comfortable. But we don't prefer to wear dark color clothes in summers because they'll absorb more heat and they'll make us feel more warm. And light color clothes are there which reflect most of the heat that is falling on them. That is why we prefer light color clothes in summers. Now, what is the difference between conduction and convection? The difference lies in the fact that one is related to the movement of liquid in the movement of heat between the fluid. That is, fluid is actually moving and the generation of heat is taking place. Conductors and insulators, they are basically different. They are differing in such an aspect that conductors are conducting, they are able to conduct heat and electricity, and insulators are not conducting. Land breeze is basically occurring when it is night, and sea breeze during the day. Dark color clothes are preferred in winters because they absorb more of heat. So what is heat? Heat is basically, if we talk about heat, that is, this is the entire summary. Okay, what is temperature? It is a measure of hotness or coldness of the body. If we talk about heat or transference of heat from one object to another, how it is taking place, it is basically the transference of heat from a hotter object to a colder object. Three processes are there: radiation, convection, and conduction. Conduction is transference from a hotter end to a colder end by direct contact. The contact has to be there. Convection, heat is transferring only in case of fluids, is called as convection. Radiation, that is, we are not actually in direct contact with the substance, but still we are able to feel the radiations. Now, thermometer is a device which is used to measure temperature. There are two types of thermometers: clinical and laboratory. Yes, two more are there: digital and maximum minimum. These are the basic categories that are known to us: clinical and laboratory. Clinical is used to measure body temperature between 35 to 42 degrees Celsius, with a special mark at 37 degrees Celsius, which tells you that the human body temperature at a normal, when the conditions are normal, it's 37 degrees Celsius. Laboratory thermometer is a special one which basically shows you the range from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. With this, we end our session. That is, we have discussed about transference of heat, conduction, convection, and radiation, and what is the difference between